This program is brought to you by the partners of A Rood Awakening International. Help others find truth. Support A Rood Awakening International today.
Tonight you are in for a special treat. For the last few weeks, National Security Analyst Ryan Mauro has been sharing with us some inside information about the real Mount Sinai and what lies ahead for that area. A megacity called Neom is set to be built right around it and could change everything. Tonight you will see an exclusive broadcast of Ryan Mauro's documentary on Mount Sinai, including spectacular views of the area you have never seen before. We're doing it tonight because it's the end of the sixth day, the sun is set, and this is Shabbat Night Live.
As they take this message out into the world.
Shabbat Shalom, Torah fans. Welcome to Shabbat Night Live with Michael Rood. Tonight you will witness Mount Sinai like you've never seen it before. The footage in the special program you're about to see is unprecedented. Ryan Mauro joins Michael Rood tonight for a special presentation of Ryan's new film, and you're going to be in awe. Stay tuned because it's coming up tonight. Also, we are in a new month of the Hebrew calendar. We know that because of the astronomically and agriculturally corrected biblical Hebrew calendar. Welcome to the month of Adar. It's the 12th month on the Hebrew calendar, which you can see on your screen there, and that means we will soon be looking for the Aviv barley in the land of Israel, and that signals the new month, the new year, and the time of Passover. Speaking of Passover, our Passover event in Charlotte is coming up March 22nd to 24th, regardless of when the new moon is sighted, because we have to book these things a year in advance. So it's a celebration nonetheless of what our Messiah did for us. Let's talk about that with my co-host, the Chief Operating Officer of A Rood Awakening International. Please welcome Ted Clayton.
Well, thank you, Scott. Glad to be here with you today.
So Ted, even if the moon or if the Aviv barley is not seen or not ready, it's okay because we can't really observe Passover anyway. We're just celebrating it.
That's absolutely right, Scott. And the truth is, folks, we're going to have a wonderful Passover celebration here. You're going to be a part of some of the most incredible teachings you've ever seen. On Friday, we have David Robinson. He's going to be talking about the Aviv fellowships that are happening there. But the real special thing is going to be happening on Friday afternoon. Tim Mahoney has given us a special exclusive showing of the new movie, Patterns of Evidence, The Moses Controversy. Scott, what is this movie all about?
Well, you know, when he did his first film, Patterns of Evidence, The Exodus, people might recognize that title.
Yes.
He wanted to move into the Red Sea crossing, and that's what he started working on.
That's right.
And as he started working on that, one of the primary themes of that was, well, you know, when Moses wrote this, you know, what was happening at that time, and then he ran into the speed bump of people saying to him, well, Moses didn't write the Torah.
And it's because the scholars said that there was no real written language at the time. But Tim Mahoney proves them wrong.
That's right. Yeah, he basically dove into a different documentary at that point,
yes,
proving that Moses did in fact write the Torah, and you're going to be amazed what he found. It's really interesting how he uses what the scholars say, and basically it comes back to bite them, which is actually kind of entertaining to see.
Right. That's right.
So you're going to see that at Passover. That's in the afternoon, and because of that, that's something special we had to insert into a program that was already set.
That's correct.
And so we're going to actually start things earlier now at 11 a.m. on the Friday, and that starts with David Robinson, who is now ahead of our Aviv fellowships.
That's correct. And he's going to be talking about how to set up an Aviv fellowship and what you can do to do that. But also, of course, Friday night wouldn't be complete without a taping of Shabbat Night Live with Michael Rood. And he's going to have a bunch of guests on. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic evening. And then, of course, Saturday morning, we start Saturday morning off with you.
Yes, we're going to be basically be showing people how to reverse diseases that they have basically by themselves.
That's right.
And how to do that even simpler than you think using the biblical principles. And we're actually going to go down into the crowd and help people individually solve their problems. And it's going to be, it's easier than you think. You're going to be amazed. So that'll be a great thing. And then pretty much after that, it's the Nehemiah Gordon show.
That's right.
He's got some great information. He's found a connection between the pool of Siloam, where Yeshua healed the man, with the mud on the eyes and that kind of thing, the blind man, and the rock at Rephidim, where Moses struck the rock and the water gushed out.
Yes.
There's a connection here that has gotten Nehemiah very excited, and it means things for the end times and all the rest of it. So he's going to be explaining that all afternoon. It's going to be a great time. And of course, the Seder.
And of course, the Seder. And of course, this year, the Seder is going to be even more incredible than ever before. Michael is just going to have a tremendous teaching. There's a tremendous meal there. It's just, I can't even go into words, folks. You do not want to miss this. Get your tickets now. There are only a few tickets left. So get those tickets today because you want to be there. Now, of course, Sunday morning wouldn't be complete in Passover without Circle the Wagons.
Right.
And Michael's going to be there doing Circle the Wagons. It's that intimate one-on-one time. And we can't forget the wonderful times of worship with Brandon Cloud and Melody Joy Cloud. It's just going to be fantastic. The whole weekend is going to be packed. There'll be areas for youth, and there'll be children's ministry as well. And who's going to be teaching that, Scott?
Well, we actually found a couple who was going to take that over for this year, brand new. You might recognize the name, Brian Serrano.
Yes.
He's going to be there taking care of the youth.
That's right.
And Kim Serrano is very apt at teaching the kids. So we have a combo there between the youth and the kids.
That's right.
And it's going to be a great time. So that's all happening all weekend long, as a matter of fact.
That's right. And we can't forget the mikveh.
Yes.
I always said there's a lot of people that want to know what the mikveh really is and what it's all about. So Scott, here we go. Is the mikveh just baptism, or is there more?
There's a lot more to it, and that's why Michael is actually doing a special teaching right before the mikveh to make people understand this is what the mikveh is all about. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime thing where you're joining a church and becoming part of the membership and all that type of thing. No. That's what we've turned it into in the Western world. Michael's going to go back into what the mikveh was intended to be and basically immerse you in that and basically help you understand what it's really supposed to be. And so he's going to do that at the hotel pool. Now, we have the unique situation at this hotel, which is the Crown Plaza. We've never held it here before. Right. They have one of those indoor-outdoor pools separated by the window. So if it's warm outside, we might be outside during the mikveh.
That's true.
If it's cool,
that's true.
Then we'll go inside. So that'll be fun to see what happens there. So that's a great thing to behold. So Passover is coming up quick, so you got to get your tickets now. Like Ted said, there's only a few left, so make sure you get it. The information's on the bottom of your screen. Now, something else we've just started is the new love gift for this month.
That's right.
And this is a teaching that Michael does every month. For those who support the ministry, and it's only for those who support the ministry. He wants to give you something special as a thank you, and this is what it is. It's a thank you gift from Michael. It's called Stand. I want to read a little back on what's on the back here for you. In Stand, Michael digs deeper into the lives of the apostles after the crucifixion and resurrection of Yeshua. You will see how Paul and the early apostles were forced to stand their ground, thus the name of the teaching,
of course.
In spite of great criticism and threats of violence. As we look at Paul's walk, we see a reflection of today's world. The Pharisees of today refuse to see the truth. So, and essentially, he's correlating what happened to the apostles with today. And there are Pharisees all around us back then and even now, and how you can stand your ground, as the word says in Ephesians 6:13. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. So that's what this is all about, standing your ground.
Absolutely.
So that is with a gift of $50 or more. This is your gift from Michael Rood. And if you want to give a little bit more, we'll give you the teaching plus something else right here we have, Ted. What is this thing right here?
Well, this is a wonderful silver Kiddush set. And you know, folks, this is just, a little ting there, so you know
it's metal.
You know it's metal. No, it's really silver plated, ladies and gentlemen. And it is just fantastic. And it's a wonderful way to help get a discussion started about your faith and talking about the Almighty and the significance of the Kiddush. So many times it is overlooked as part of Shabbat evening. But the Kiddush is very important, and what a wonderful way, what an intimate way to share the Kiddush, but with something like this. And ladies and gentlemen, we just thank you so much, and I just would like to say how much we really do appreciate you giving for these love gifts, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do all the things that we do. And right now, we have some other exciting news talking about new networks that we're on right now. Most of you have heard that Sky Angel went out of business, so we're no longer on Sky Angel, but we have some real exciting news. We are now on Impact TV, which is on Dish Network, and we're also on a secular television station called Folk TV. That's FOLK TV. Now, they typically run old traditional programming, such as the old Green Acres and Bonanza and stuff like that. But they have also allowed us to be on the air, and we're going to be on the air with Shabbat Night Live on Saturday evenings on that network. Plus, as an added extra bonus, we have went on locally here in the Charlotte, North Carolina market on WMYT TV, and that's with both Shabbat Night Live on all of these networks and the chronological Gospels. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't begin to tell you how much we truly appreciate you and everything you've done to allow us to spread the gospel. Because remember, our main job here is to spread the gospel, the truth of the gospel, to all the Christian world. And this is just a fabulous way to do it. Impact TV is just all over the place. It's on Dish Network. And once again, Folk TV, we made the decision to do that because if you're going to spread the gospel, you don't need to just do it on Christian television. You need to do it where the average person is also going to watch TV.
Right, and not necessarily, we're not being of the world, but we are going to be in the world. That's
Absolutely.
what Yeshua did. Yeshua hung out with people that the Pharisees didn't necessarily like, but Yeshua said, no, these are the folks that need the message.
Absolutely. So folks, once again, thank you very much. Because of your help, you are spreading the true gospel throughout the world.
Awesome. Thanks, Ted. All right, well, coming up, the final episode of Mount Sinai, the future of Israel's past. You're going to see an unprecedented view of Mount Sinai tonight as you watch Ryan Mauro's new film on the subject. You're going to be amazed. Thank you for making it happen. I say that because you make this show happen, as Ted was just explaining. And one of the ways you can do that is by getting this month's love gift, which we also talked about. You'll help us and get an exclusive teaching from Michael Rood in return. Here's how. Take a look.
Spreading the message of Yeshua was not easy in the Apostles' day, and it's still not easy today. In these tumultuous times, we are all called to stand, as Paul says in Ephesians 6:13. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, to stand.
We don't see the signs, miracles, and wonders that they saw in the first century because nobody is teaching what Yeshua taught. Nobody is tapping into that power and taking on the responsibility as a royal priesthood.
Stand is a walk through Paul's early ministry, and it highlights the struggles that come with throwing off your old life and living for Yeshua.
When Jews, when Israelites, when they do not do what they have been called to do, and they were the ones that were chosen by God, the chosen people to be the ones to reconcile the world to God. They were to be chosen and called to be priests and kings.
Stand is an exclusive teaching available only in February. It's a gift from Michael Rood to you for your love gift donation of just $50. Or with a love gift donation of $100 or more, we'll send you Stand plus a silver-plated cup and saucer set to celebrate Yeshua's sacrifice and resurrection.
I want to see some medals, some commendations on you when you get out of the battle. You're going into it and you're being sent into it, and I know that you're going to be able to handle this thing.
Get Stand plus a silver-plated cup and saucer set. Call 800-788-7887. That's 800-788-7887 to make your love gift donation now and receive the Stand collection. Or visit our website at monthlylovegift.com. Hurry, offer ends February 28th. Join Michael Rood and special guest Nehemiah Gordon for Passover 2019, The Waters of Salvation. Hear for yourself the exciting new information that connects the split rock of the Exodus with Yeshua's miracle at the Pool of Siloam and what it means for end-time events. Passover 2019 also includes biblical health and home fellowship seminars, a full youth program with Brian Serrano, children's ministry with Kim Serrano, worship with Brandon and Melody, and more. Plus, an exclusive private screening of the all-new documentary by Tim Mahoney, Patterns of Evidence, The Moses Controversy. Only 400 tickets are available for Passover 2019, March 22nd to 24th, with Michael Rood and Nehemiah Gordon at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tickets are disappearing fast. Act now. Call the number on your screen or visit PassoverCharlotte.com.
See it now at A Rood Awakening International. The Temple Treasures exhibit. Remarkably accurate, full-scale replicas of the most precious furnishings in the tabernacle and the Second Temple. The Torah, the menorah, the table of showbread, and the altar of incense. Plus, the world's only accurate-sized model of Ron Wyatt's eyewitness account of the Ark of the Covenant. The Temple Treasures exhibit. Book your tour now at TempleTreasuresExhibit.com.
The composite of the gospel records tell us that before the Passover lamb was sacrificed the following morning, that Yeshua had his Last Supper with his disciples, in which he took bread, arton, leavened bread, and he took wine, and he said, "This represents my body, which will be broken for you. This cup represents my shed blood, which will pay for the iniquity." It is this very thing that the Melchizedek shared with Abraham. As Yeshua said, Abraham saw my day and rejoiced. And when the Melchizedek brought forth bread and wine, he shared with them about the coming of the Messiah, about his broken body, about his shed blood. And Abraham gave a tenth of everything that he owned and laid it at the feet of the Melchizedek. He saw Yeshua's day and he rejoiced. And so now, every time we do this, every Sabbath, every meal in which there's bread and wine, in which we take this and we bless the Most High. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech ha'olam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, Yehovah, our Elohim, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. Yeshua said, "This is my body, which is broken for you." As often as you do it in remembrance of me. And then Yeshua took the cup, and he said, "Blessed are you, Yehovah, our Elohim, King of the universe, who brings forth the fruit of the vine," the creator of the fruit of the vine. And every time we do this, we do remember his death and what he did for us until he comes. One day, at the marriage supper of the Lamb, Yeshua will lift his cup and say, "I have not had a drop of this, as I promised at the Last Supper. I've been waiting for you. Now, l'chaim, to life everlasting." Well, here we are, Torah fans. This is what I have been waiting for. This is what you've been waiting for. I have with me Ryan Mauro with the Clarion Project, a national security analyst. Ryan's back with us. Ryan has returned from Mount Sinai, and he has got a short motion picture, I would like to say. This is not a video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely incredible. And I told Ryan I didn't want to see it beforehand. I didn't want to see it, and I just watched it a few minutes ago, and I am telling you that I am absolutely chilled. The chills are running up and down my spine because this is a man who made it out there and has come back with the evidence. And Ryan, thank you so much for doing this presentation and presenting this on Shabbat Night Live for the nation and the world, really.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to do so because I know your audience is familiar with this topic and will really appreciate the material. And so I didn't even intend to create an online video, movie, or whatever you want to call it. But then coming back with the video and trying to put together to explain to people, it just took on a life of its own as we kept tweaking it. We're like, all right, well, we need to do more. We need to do more. And then it resulted in this nearly 30-minute video explanation of it. And I'm hoping that people will feel as if they went there with me.
Well,
and can feel some of the emotion.
It's dangerous to go there. Now, Ron Wyatt was the first one to actually go over there, sneaking over there with his two sons in the middle of the night across the Jordanian border. I'll say so that everyone understands that after they were there and they got the evidence, the video, the still photography and all, then they were arrested at the border, because they told a professional archaeologist in Israel that they were going over and told him what they were going to do in case something happened. Well, he called the Saudi government and had them arrested and said that they were 3 Israeli spies in their country and where they were going to be coming out, and that's where they caught them. So he thought if he could get Wyatt arrested and killed, as he spent 76 days in prison, then he could get the glory for this. And so this is where the adventure starts. Then the Caldwells, Jim and Penny Caldwell, they get in there because they get Ron Wyatt's map that he's left at Nuweiba, Egypt, and he leaves an hour before Jim and Penny Caldwell just happened to drive into Nuweiba, Egypt. He sees the map and says, this is my oil field. This is the Midian oil field. I know this place. And so he's got the map, and so for 9 years, they secure the evidence and give it to Wyatt. And Wyatt gives it to me and says he can't say anything about this, who these people are, because the people's lives were in danger. Well, Jim and Penny Caldwell then give this evidence to me, but the evidence that you have in this, the drone footage, the 4K, this is unbelievable. All these things, ladies and gentlemen, you are about to see one of the greatest treats of your life because we get to tell the story. Ryan is going to tell the story on this video.
Yeah, and I'm so excited. I still kind of can't believe I went. I can't believe that I'm here, that I'm showing this video. It's also so surreal to me because I keep thinking about when I was 14 years old and I was thinking about all this, and you had to imagine a lot of it because the pictures and videos that were out there were still aged a bit. And if you're a little cynical, are you gonna buy it?
Right.
Maybe not so, just because it's not modern footage. And especially when you're making extraordinary claims about what's there, that there is so much evidence. And so going and seeing it with my own eyes, and now everyone else being able to see it with their own eyes, I'm hoping will really impact the entire world. And we're seeing signs of that already, where there are entities linked to Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood, all now saying Mount Sinai is in Saudi Arabia. This is a big deal. And of course, they put their own radical spin on it, but they're not contesting the fact that Mount Sinai is in Saudi Arabia. So this topic is about to go mainstream and have global consequences.
And we can be very thankful for the positions that you find yourself in. As a national security analyst, you are regular on Fox News and interviewed in so many different formats. Even while you were here, you were doing radio and television programs while you were here, that we kind of had to interrupt things in order for you to do this, because this is giving you a voice to the world. And this is something that you have realized that the Muslims have had a reason for keeping this quiet, have they not?
That's true. So in this video, what you're going to see is a contact of mine speaking anonymously, we don't show his face, who used to be in a jihadist group at a pretty high level. And so he would meet with Pakistani intelligence and even associates of Osama bin Laden.
And so as a national security analyst and having your hand in that, this is how you're able to get into interview.
Right, exactly, and to earn his trust. And he had just said, as a matter of fact, when I said I came back from Saudi Arabia, and because of this theory that Mount Sinai is there, and he's like, oh yeah, Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia, where it's covered up with the police and the fence. Yeah, we know about all that. And he started explaining how, from an ideological perspective, coming from the radical Islamic world, they would be required to keep people out in order to protect it. And if they failed to do so, then there would be idolatrous practices there, and then they would have to actually destroy the evidence. So from his perspective, as a formerly radical Muslim, they were doing the right thing in keeping people out and threatening you for trying to go. It massively ironic, but it makes sense once you think about it, because if we control that mountain and we start building hotels and amusement parks, we would have destroyed a lot of it.
Or chipping away things because we want icons to worship at our churches.
Right.
And that's basically what the Christian world has done, is just, taken on idolatry and in the name of the Lord.
Right.
This is incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, people ask me, and Ryan asked me, have I ever been there? I can honestly say I have been there, because I just watched this video just a minute ago, and once you watch this video, you have been there. So we're gonna let it roll, okay?
All right, I just want to make one quick plug. If people want to see the original video and get involved in some of the additional research we're doing, it's SinaiInArabia.com. This is separate from the Clarion Project, so as a separate website, SinaiInArabia.com, and we have our own YouTube channel because we want to do continued research, and we also are fundraising to talk to the Saudis and try to convince them to handle this the right way. Open it up to the outside world, but continue to preserve it.
Beautiful. Well, now we're going to roll with it. Right now, you're watching it here, Shabbat Night Live.
For generations, we have been taught that we had to believe the story of the Exodus on faith alone. We were told that Mount Sinai, where Moses received the 10 Commandments, was located in Egypt, but there was no real evidence to make it believable. No pictures of left-behind artifacts, practically nothing to validate one of the most important stories of the Bible. The Bible says over 70 times that the Israelites went out of Egypt to Midian, which would be mostly or entirely modern-day Saudi Arabia. Is it true that there is very little evidence that the Exodus story happened, or have we actually just been looking in the wrong spot? While the theory of Moses and the Israelites being in Saudi Arabia is a relatively new theory to those of us in the outside world, it isn't new to the locals living there. We were frequently approached by Saudis eager to talk to Americans for the first time face to face. And one of the first things they would say with excitement was, "Did you know Moses was here? Let me show you where he and his people were." The tradition that the mountain in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula is Mount Sinai only dates back to the 4th century AD. New research based on Jewish, Christian, and Islamic sources indicate that there is a tradition that is 600 years older, and according to that tradition, Mount Sinai is in northwest Saudi Arabia. This other tradition points to Jabal Makla, a peak on the mountain range known as Jebel al-Lawz, as the true Mountain of Moses. Several historical sources, including Josephus, recorded that Mount Sinai is the highest mountain near a city that is today called Al-Bad. Locals refer to Jabal Makla as Jebel Musa, the Mountain of Moses.
So you call this one Jabal Musa?
Jabal Musa.
One of the distinguishing features of this mountain is the blackened top that you can see right behind me. The Bible says that God descended upon Mount Sinai as a fire.
The blackened peaks stick out from the surrounding areas, and the rocks are only black from the outside. Researchers disagree as to whether the blackened rocks are actual evidence of God descending upon the mountain as a fire like the Bible says, or whether it's natural volcanic rock. A small handful of Americans tried to sneak into this area in the late 1970s and the 1980s. They were arrested, and their photos and videos were confiscated by the Saudi police. Their evidence was lost. However, images and videos slowly began leaking out to the outside world. According to those who snuck in and were arrested, These sites were being kept secret by the Saudi regime, a theocracy that hid them from the world using fences and police and the threat of force. As I tried to understand why the Saudis were hiding this important site, I began reaching out to sources in the Islamic world. For 15 years, I've been in the fields of intelligence, counterterrorism, and international relations, and one of my best contacts had a story to tell. He used to belong to a jihadist group, and he even had meetings with Pakistani intelligence and close associates of Osama bin Laden. And now, he's speaking out for the first time.
When I was in the jihad world, we all knew that the Mount Sinai was in Saudi Arabia. The people on the outside, even most Muslims, had no idea that it was there, because we fighters didn't want anyone to know about it. We all knew that the Saudi government hid it and protected it with security, and we all agreed with it. We believe that if a site, even a holy site, is visited by people and used for idolatry, it should be destroyed. But our hiding it, according to the Islamic law, is what saved it, so you can see it today and appreciate it.
Moses flees Egypt after killing an Egyptian who he saw abusing one of the Hebrew slaves. He then escapes to Midian as a fugitive. In Midian, Moses sits by a well and he meets the daughters of Jethro who are getting water for his flock. Moses then marries one of his daughters.
We are in the ancient land of Midian right now, near the town that locals describe as originally being the land of Jethro.
When we visited this area, multiple Saudis approached us to tell us this is where Jethro and Moses resided. They excitedly pointed to an ancient well that is fenced off and marked as an archaeological site. The Saudis have long believed that this is the well where Moses met the daughters of Jethro, and Muslims from around the world come to see it. The book of Exodus says that the Red Sea crossing happened at a spot named Yam Suf, but experts have long disagreed about where it was. There are two proposed Red Sea crossing sites from Egypt into Saudi Arabia. The first candidate is at the Straits of Tiran, at the bottom of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. The second candidate is at Egypt's Nuweiba Beach. Dr. Glenn Fritz, who has a PhD in environmental geography, conducted a massive study of the land and all the historical references about where the crossing happened. He found only one exact match: Egypt's Nuweiba Beach. Nuweiba Beach is almost 5 miles long and 3 miles wide, providing enough room for the Israelite population to fit. Here, they'd be trapped with the mountains on both sides, the Red Sea in front of them, and Pharaoh's army right behind them. Amazingly, there is a path under the water from Egypt into Saudi Arabia. The path is not too steep. The Israelites could have easily walked across if the waters were parted. Underwater research by Dr. Leonard Moeller showed strange shapes in the coral, leading some to believe that the remains of Pharaoh's army are there. According to this theory, the coral wrapped around the debris from Pharaoh's army and retained the shape of the objects after they dissolved. When they brought a metal detector down to the coral anomalies, the readings were consistent with circular patterns of metal resembling the parts of chariots. We had planned to dive near the possible Red Sea crossing point because it's a public diving site with stores where you can go and rent diving equipment. But we weren't allowed to. The Saudi police showed up, and they stayed with us until we left. After the Red Sea crossing, Moses and the Israelites stop at a place near Mount Sinai named Elim. Desperate for water, they find a unique location with 12 wells and 70 palms. Along the path to the possible real Mount Sinai, there is a match for Elim with many palm trees and, to this day, 12 wells. Saudi locals pointed us to this location and specifically referred to it as Elim. Another major event by Mount Sinai is the incident with the golden calf. While Moses is up on Mount Sinai, some of his followers begin worshiping a golden calf. They place it up on a stand and begin worshiping around it, and they set up an altar in front of it. When Moses comes down from Mount Sinai, he destroys the golden calf and sprinkles its remains into the river that comes down from the mountain. Here, in front of the mountain, we have the remains of what may have been that golden calf worship site.
Now behind me in this fenced-in archaeological site that the Saudis are protecting, you see both a stand with many petroglyphs of cows and people worshiping cows, as well as a structure that is slightly lifted that may be the altar in front of the golden calf stand.
There's a sign in Arabic and English warning intruders against going into the area. The local tradition that this is where the golden calf was is so strong that if you approach it, you'll be suspected of searching for gold. According to the Bible, the worshippers of the golden calf say, "These are your gods, O Israel." This verse indicates that there are multiple depictions of bulls as the Israelites are worshiping the golden calf. On the top of the stand where the golden calf would have been placed, there is a circular indent where the rock has been worn down. It's speculated that this is where Moses grounded the golden calf into powder. After Moses destroys the golden calf, 3,000 of the golden calf worshippers are killed, so there must be a spot where thousands of people were buried. About 4 miles from this site, there's a massive ancient graveyard. It appears to be a mass burial site where the graves were dug all at once. It's located just outside the plain where the Israelites would have camped, so it's exactly where it should be if this is where that story took place. Here too, the Saudis have a sign identifying it as an archaeological site, and it's patrolled by police. The book of Exodus says that Moses built an altar of uncut stone at the foot of Mount Sinai and also set up 12 pillars to symbolize the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right here at the foot of the mountain, we see this structure that resembles an ancient altar. And what we are standing in right now is probably the animal chutes that would lead them to sacrifice at the foot of the mountain. The animal chutes lead to this area of the structure, which may have been the slaughter platform for animal sacrifices. The Saudis, of course, say that this has nothing to do with Moses, but they admit that they found animal waste and bones underneath this area when they dug. People who have been to this site decades ago say that this site used to be much cleaner, and you could more clearly see the remains of about 12 pillars, as well as a stone platform that they would stand on.
Near the altar and the 12 pillars, Moses reads to the Israelites the Book of the Covenant, and they agree to it. This means that Moses probably had a spot right above the altar that served as a stage in order to address the people. Right above this area with the altar and the pillars, there is an area that could have been a perfect spot for Moses to be seen and heard when the covenant is made. A Saudi local actually pointed to this part of the mountain and showed us how Moses' voice would have echoed like he was speaking in a natural amphitheater. The Bible says that a brook flowed down from Mount Sinai, providing water for the Israelites. The brook must have come down near the altar at the foot of the mountain for the sacrifices to take place, and the brook must have come near the golden calf because Moses threw its remains into the river. It's very easy to see where there was once a stream coming down from this mountain, where there's evidence of burnt sacrifices. It then ends up near the possible golden calf worship site. There's even evidence of wells around the area where a pool of water would have formed, proving that a large population once lived there. According to the Bible, the prophet Elijah travels to Mount Sinai, and once he gets there, he goes into a cave, and that's where he talks to God. The real Mount Sinai must therefore have a cave that is accessible, safe, and suitable for sleeping. This cave above the altar is about 15 feet high, 20 feet long, and 20 feet deep. If this is the real Mount Sinai, then this is almost certainly the Cave of Elijah. On the way to Mount Sinai, the Israelites camp where there's no water. Moses goes up to a distinct rock and strikes it with his rod, and miraculously, water pours forth for his followers. The historian Josephus said that the split rock could still be seen in his time, and it was so big that it could not have been moved. Is it possible that this split rock still remains today, testifying to the accuracy of this story? The answer is yes, and it is stunning. This split rock was first discovered by Jim and Penny Caldwell, an American couple that was working in Saudi Arabia in the early 1990s. The local Bedouins have long had two names for this area: the Water of Moses and the Split Rock of Moses. This split rock is on top of a 100-foot hill and is somewhere between 40 and 60 feet high. And what's really amazing about this specific location in the valley along the possible route to Mount Sinai is that the rocks underneath the split rock are smooth, as if tons and tons of water poured forth, forming a miniature lake at the bottom for the Israelites to drink from. If you have a relationship with a local, they'll tell you that this area is related to Moses, but the Bedouins that live here will try to keep you out. We saw this firsthand as we were chased out of the area. Okay, so we are flooring it. We're gonna see if this guy follows us. We heard 2 gunshots. This guy's like, doesn't really want to party. The Bible says the area near the split rock where the Israelites fought the Amalekites is named Rephidim, which means place of rest. Hebrew inscriptions we found there have been interpreted to say place of rest, the definition of Rephidim. Closer to the mountain, inscriptions have been found that Dr. Miles Jones, a scholar of ancient Hebrew, believes are talking about the battle with the Amalekites. He says one of the inscriptions refers to the death of an Amalekite. Nearby, there are 2 inscriptions that Dr. Jones believes are marking where a Hebrew mother and daughter died. The Bible says that God told the Israelites that they possess the land wherever the soles of their feet touch. Near the split rock and near the mountain, there are many inscriptions with an image of a foot and a sandal. Next to the image, there is Proto-Hebrew writing that means the sole of the foot. We also found inscriptions that were translated and found to refer to Yahweh, the Hebrew name for God. There's another area near the mountain named Wadi Musa, or the Valley of Moses. Here, a depiction of a menorah was found, and it might be the oldest depiction of a menorah known today. Now, a new eyewitness has come forward to reveal that the Saudis have been hiding the evidence of the Exodus since at least World War II. This man was an American pilot who met the King of Saudi Arabia. Bob Cornuke was one of the first people to reach Jabal Maqla in the 1980s, and he recently interviewed that pilot and made the footage available for this video.
It's an honor to meet you.
Well, thank you.
Our lives have intersected possibly in something very historic, and we're talking about where the real Mount Sinai is located. And I had no idea that someone as far back as World War II would have seen the mountain and had been told that the mountain was the holy mountain of Moses. Did any of the Muslims tell you that that was a holy mountain?
Oh yes. I guess everybody in the military knew it was holy. Well, they forbidden me to fly around it, and it was off limits that I'd be killed either by God or by maybe some of them, I don't know. And when I took off, I was half scared to death. You bet I flew around it.
But it was different than the rest of the mountains because it was black on top?
Oh, it was a blackish green. It was dark enough to be somewhat frightening. You don't know what I really believe. I think it's Mount Sinai. I think God let me fly around it. That's what I think. I think He let you and me both live.
Why haven't we heard about this other candidate for Mount Sinai? Why has almost the entire focus been on the traditional site despite its lack of compelling evidence?
Think about how many things line up with the biblical story right here at this mountain.
There's a beach and path where the Red Sea crossing could have happened, matching the biblical account. You can see how the Israelites could have camped near Elim with its 12 wells and 70 palms. Along the way to Jabal Maqla, there's a split rock and area suitable for camping. There's a mountain referred to as the Mountain of Moses, with a large plain in front of it where millions of Israelites could have camped. You can see an altar of uncut stone at the foot of the mountain, where there's evidence of burnt sacrifices, right where it should be. There's evidence of bull worship, and you can see exactly how Moses would have seen the golden calf worship going on as he came down from the mountain. There's a brook that comes down from the mountain just like the Exodus story says. You can see right where the cave of Elijah might have been. All of these little details have to fit, and they fit. After I came back from the trip, people asked how I felt standing there where so few people have been able to, and the predictable feelings were easy to describe. The adrenaline, amazement, awe, but there was an emotion that was more difficult to describe. I didn't deserve to be there. I'm not someone who's given away his wealth to the poor, I'm not a scientist or a pastor, and there are still days where I feel like I have no faith at all. But then as I looked at the mountains, I remembered something. The Bible has a clear pattern where God doesn't use the best or the most expected. Even Moses was so insecure that he didn't want the job. Rather than using the most qualified, the pattern is that God uses the unexpected, the insecure, the flawed, the depressed, the doubter, the underdog. Every single person can make a difference, especially those that think they can't. As you watch this, the Saudis are constructing a super city that is planned to be 33 times the size of New York. If all of us don't take action, Saudi construction in the area may destroy key evidence and prevent excavation for the foreseeable future. To try to stop these sites from being threatened, we have set up a website and a nonprofit organization to support further research and to convince the Saudis to preserve the sites so they can be saved and investigated. We're entering a period that we have never been in before, one where this footage and other evidence of the Exodus and the Bible overall are only a click away for anyone on Earth with an internet connection. And as these sites are revealed, it will change the Middle East forever and impact the billions of people who follow Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and those with no faith at all. The world is about to change.
This program that you're watching is all in super high definition, not because you need it on a little computer, not because you need it for YouTube, because every one of these episodes, every one of these teachings is going up worldwide on broadcast television. And in order to do this in broadcast television and to pay for it as it goes out around the world, it takes a great deal of finances to do so. Because people's lives have been changed, because your life right now is being changed by the teaching of the truth of the gospel of the kingdom that Yeshua taught. Because your life has been changed, we are asking you to help us help others around the world. We have so many projects that are going on, so many helpers, so many volunteers, so many paid staff that are changing our programs from English into Mandarin Chinese, into Spanish, into French, into Russian. It's going out around the world, ladies and gentlemen, and we need your help. We are pushing the envelope just as far as we can push it, and we need your help. We're not going to monetize this by YouTube. No, we are going to keep this commercial free. You are our sponsor. You're our only sponsor. If you don't do it, the job ain't going to get done. And I don't want to meet Yeshua on the sea of fire and glass and not hear the words, well done, good job. I want to do my part, and now I'm just asking you to do your part. I was 16 years old, sitting in the theater, watching the Ten Commandments. I knew that I had to go there. Ryan, I feel like I've been there. You have done a better job than Cecil B. DeMille could possibly do. He didn't have such high-resolution drones to go to this site. He took us there cinematically. You literally took us there. Thank you. I want to thank you
so
for
much
doing
for having
that.
me.
And I think I would like also to thank the Saudis for what you have done in preserving this site. I know that there's been a lot of tension. I know that the Bedouins put in charge of securing and keeping this area secure so that people didn't damage it. I know that they've had people down in the ditch with a gun barrel in the back of their head, scared the life out of them. But yet, what they have done is preserving this for the nations of the world so that the story of Moses can be told. And the story of the prophet of whom Moses prophesied, the prophet we must hear and obey. So we want to thank you, Ryan. thank the Saudis, and God bless you. God bless the Saudis. God bless America. And we're going to now sign off for this series on Shabbat Night Live. And I'm going to close with a prayer that the priest of Israel were to speak over the people. And I'm speaking this over, and even the Saudis, and all who hear my voice. Yivarechecha Yehovah vayishmeraka. Yair Yehovah panavelecha vichunaka. Yisa Yehovah panavelecha vayisem leka shalom. B'shem Yeshua HaMashiach, Sar Shalom. Yehovah bless you and keep you. Yehovah make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yehovah lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. In the name of Yeshua, the Prince of Peace. Amen and amen. And as the priest would hold their hands up, now you know why. You saw the thumb, you saw the split rock. As David said, I go to the rock which is higher than I, and you saw it. You saw Ryan there at the rock, which is higher than all of us. And that rock is the Messiah who followed. Shabbat Shalom, Torah fans. Shavua Tov. Have a good week. We'll see you next time, Shabbat Night Live. But we are going to keep Ryan here for a little bit because he's got a lot more story to tell. We've got pages to cover, and we knew we couldn't get to it on Shabbat Night Live, and so we're going to go with an additional DVD where we don't have any time limit on this. There's no breaks, no commercials, no nothing. We're going to be able to get into this because as a national security analyst, and the world that he found himself in, that then allowed him to get into Saudi Arabia, allowed him all these contacts. This is what the people of the world need to know, especially in America, need to know because of what is going on in the world today. So, Ryan, stay with me. We're going to now take the people on the ride of their life. Thank you for being with me during the series. And now we get to do and say whatever we want because this isn't going to go on television anywhere.
Looking forward to it.
Okay. So, Shalom Torah fans. We'll see you next time.